In 1908, a young reporter named Napoleon Hill was given an assignment that would change his life. He was sent to interview the richest man in America, Andrew Carnegie. But instead of just answering questions, Carnegie gave Hill a challenge: spend the next 20 years studying the most successful people in America and figure out what actually makes them rich. No salary, no guarantee, just an idea. Hill accepted. Over the next 2 decades, he interviewed over 500 successful men, including Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Theodore Roosevelt. The result was Think and Grow Rich, one of the best-selling books of all time. Hill's core claim is simple but powerful. Riches begin in the mind, not with luck, not with connections, but with a specific, repeatable mental process. Let's walk through the principles Hill uncovered. Principle 1. Desire. Everything starts with desire, but not casual wishing. Hill is clear that vague hope for money never produces results. What works is what he calls a burning desire, backed by a specific dollar amount, a specific deadline, and a definite plan. Hill outlines 6 practical steps. Decide exactly how much money you want. Decide what you'll give in return for it. Set a definite date. Create a plan and begin immediately. Write all of this down clearly and read it aloud twice a day. This isn't magic. It's about forcing your mind to focus on one clear target instead of scattering your energy across vague ambitions. Principle 2. Faith. Faith, in Hill's framework, isn't necessarily religious. It's the unshakable belief that your goal is achievable even before you have proof. He argues that faith can be deliberately cultivated through repetition of thought, essentially training your subconscious mind to accept an idea as true. Hill points out that thoughts mixed with strong emotion and repeated consistently begin to influence behavior, confidence, and even opportunities a person notices. People with genuine self-belief act differently. They take risks others avoid, and that difference compounds over time.
Principle 3. Auto-suggestion. This is the method for actually building that faith. Auto-suggestion is the practice of feeding your subconscious mind chosen thoughts over and over until they take root. Hill's approach ties directly back to Principle 1, writing down your definite goal, reading it aloud with emotion twice a day, and visualizing yourself already in possession of it. He believed the subconscious mind can't easily tell the difference between a vividly imagined scenario and a real one, so consistently feeding it a picture of success gradually reshapes your habits, decisions, and confidence to match that picture. Principle 4. Specialized knowledge. Hill makes an important distinction here. General knowledge doesn't create wealth. Specialized knowledge applied toward a specific goal does. He notes that many highly successful people weren't the most formally educated, but they knew exactly what they needed to know for their specific goal, and they knew how to organize that knowledge or surround themselves with people who had it. The lesson is to stop collecting knowledge for its own sake and start acquiring the specific expertise your goal actually requires. Principle 5. Imagination. Hill calls imagination the workshop of the mind, the place where every plan, product, and idea is built before it exists in reality. He separates it into 2 types: synthetic imagination, which rearranges existing ideas into new combinations, and creative imagination, which taps into original insight and intuition. Most business success, Hill argues, comes from synthetic imagination, taking old ideas and combining them in a new way. He encourages readers to actively exercise this muscle rather than assuming imagination is a fixed talent some people simply don't have. Principle 6. Organized planning. A desire without a plan is just a wish. This principle is about turning your goal into an actionable strategy. Hill emphasizes building the right team around your plan. He calls this concept the mastermind, which we'll cover shortly. He also stresses persistence in planning itself. If your first plan fails, you build another and another until one works. Hill studied countless people who failed multiple times before their breakthrough, and the common thread wasn't talent, it was refusing to stop revising the plan.
Principle 7. Decision. Hill observed that successful people share a habit. They make decisions quickly and change their minds slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful people tend to do the opposite. They're slow to decide and quick to abandon a decision under pressure or criticism. Indecision, Hill argues, is one of the biggest wealth killers because it wastes time and signals a lack of clear desire. He encourages readers to practice decisiveness, reach conclusions based on their own judgment, and stop outsourcing their choices to the opinions of others. Principle 8. Persistence. This might be the most repeated theme in the entire book. Hill argues that persistence is what separates those who eventually succeed from those who quit right before their breakthrough. He identifies common reasons people give up: lack of a clear goal, comfort with mediocrity, self-doubt, and fear of criticism. His solution is to combine a burning desire with a habit of continuing to act, even when progress feels invisible. Because in Hill's research, the line between temporary failure and permanent failure was almost always the decision to stop trying. Principle 9. The power of the mastermind. Hill defines a mastermind as a group of 2 or more people working together in perfect harmony toward a common goal. He argues that when minds combine this way, they generate more energy, creativity, and knowledge than any individual could produce alone. Almost like a third invisible mind is created. This is why Hill found that almost no one accumulates great wealth alone. Behind every major achievement he studied was a coordinated group: advisors, partners, and collaborators, each contributing specialized strength toward the same objective. Principles 10 through 13: sex transmutation, the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. The final section of Hill's work moves into more abstract territory. He describes sex transmutation as the practice of channeling strong emotional and creative energy into productive work rather than dissipating it. He explores the subconscious mind as the bridge between conscious thought and real-world results, arguing that whatever you repeatedly feed it through emotion-backed thought, it works to manifest. He compares the brain to a broadcasting and receiving station, capable of picking up on the thought patterns of others. And finally, he describes the sixth sense as a kind of intuitive wisdom that develops only after a person has mastered the previous principles, allowing for near-instant decision-making rooted in experience and instinct. The 6 ghosts of fear. Before closing, Hill addresses the biggest obstacle standing between people and their goals: fear. He lists 6 major fears that hold people back: fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death. He argues that most people are held back not by lack of ability, but by these fears operating quietly in the background, and that recognizing them by name is the first step toward loosening their grip. Conclusion. Hill's message, boiled down, is this: wealth isn't an accident. It follows a mental process, beginning with a burning desire, strengthened by faith and autosuggestion, backed by real knowledge and imagination, organized into a plan, driven forward by decisive and persistent action, and multiplied through the right people around you. Nearly a century after it was written, Think and Grow Rich remains influential because it treats success as a discipline anyone can learn, not a privilege reserved for the lucky few. If this summary was helpful, let me know in the comments which principle stood out to you the most. And if you want more deep dive book breakdowns like this, don't forget to subscribe.